In this lecture, we are going to develop a login system in the Applab on code.org. We are going to start with defining a very strong, a very beautiful structure for a login system. And after that, we are going to define the code for all the components that we guys will be using for our app on this mobile simulator screen. So let's start with the designing part first. We need to come on this design window, and here we are going to define this image button on this mobile simulator screen. Let's increase the width and height of this image button in such a way that it can cover the whole mobile simulator screen. Right, now we are going to come on this Google and let's search for some good login mobile screens. So here you just have to type sign in, sign up, login screens. Okay, so when you'll type this thing in the search window, in the search tab of Google, and you'll come on this Google images. These are a couple of beautiful images you're going to come across. Now let's make use of one of these images for the login system. Let's go for this one. This is looking good. So you can click on that image to open it up in a bigger window. Now I am going to copy this image. So for that I need to right click on this image, and this is a beautiful cascading menu I'm going to come across. Let's hit this copy image option. So I'm done with copying this image. Now I am going to open this Paint software and paste this copied image using the shortcut keys Control and V together. Right, so that's how you can paste any copied image in this Paint software. Now I am going to make use of this selection tool and select a part of this image which I will be requiring for my login system. So let's select this much part of this login screen. Okay, now after selecting the required part, we need to copy this part. How can we copy this part? We just have to press Ctrl and C together, and the selected part will get copied. And now we need to open another Paint software where we are going to paste that copied part. So for pasting that, we just have to press Ctrl and V together, and it is going to get pasted like this. Let's eliminate this white portion which is visible to us over here. So we can reduce the size of this window and eliminate this white portion. Now I am going to save this image with a unique name on my desktop. So let's come on this icon over here, and I am going to make use of this save as option. For saving this image with a unique name on my desktop, I am saving it with login screen. Fine. Now let's go back on the Applab platform, and here I am going to select this image button I have defined on this mobile simulator screen. Let's come down in this properties section and hit this choose button. So this is the window we are going to come across. Now we need to upload that pic which we just saved on the desktop. So for doing that, we can make use of this upload file button. Let's hit this button and see what's going to happen. So it is going to redirect us on one of the locations which is there on the device I'm working on. So I need to come on the desktop, and here you can see that image which I just saved with this login screen name. Right, let's select this image and hit this open button. So now it is going to get uploaded here in this assets library of the Applab. Okay, so the image has got successfully uploaded over here. Now I need to hit this choose button in order to select this image, and you can see this image is now getting reflected over here on this mobile simulator screen. Now as you can see, some white portion is visible to us in the sides of this image button. So in order to eliminate this, we can make use of this fit image option. Let's hit this drop down and see what's going to happen. So these are a couple of options you're going to come across. Now if you'll go for this cover option, this is what you'll get to see. So now the image will cover the whole image button, and this is how the view of this image is going to look like. So now it is looking much more beautiful, right? Okay, so now we are going to define three components on this image button. The first one is going to be this input box, which I am going to put over here right on the top of this part of the image. Okay, so I'm going to make use of this for the email section. Similarly, let's define this image, this input box. I'm going to put it over here, and let's make its size equal to the rectangular portion of the password field which is visible to us in the background, right? So that's how you can do it. Now these are looking very odd. Why? Because the background color of this input box is not matching with that of this image. How can we make them look as if they are a part of this image? For doing that, we can open this code.org platform on a new tab. Open this game lab. Now I'm going to come on this Paint software where I created this login screen. Let's select this whole screen and copy this image. So for selecting this whole image, we need to press Ctrl and A together. And for copying this, we can make use of Ctrl and C. Okay, so I'm done with copying this image. Let's come on this animation workspace of the game lab, and here I am going to hit this new animation tab. So it is going to redirect me on this beautiful animation library. Now I'm going to make use of this draw your own option, and here I am going to paste that copied image in this empty frame. So for doing that, I can press Ctrl and V together, and automatically the image is going to get pasted over here like this. Now with the help of this color picker tool, we are going to find out the code for this color which is getting reflected over here in this email box. So for that, what you have to do, you need to just click on this color picker tool, and after that you can hit this this part of the image, and automatically whatever the code of this color is, you are going to get it over here in this panel. So this is the code. You need to select this whole code, press Ctrl and C together for copying this code. Now go back on that Applab, select this input box and come down over here in this background color property. Just replace this color with the color you just copied. So now you can see the changes over here, right? Now the only thing which is looking odd to me is this border. How can we get rid of this border? We just have to reduce down this border width to 0. That's how we can do it. And as you can see, now that input box is no more visible to us. Why? Because the background color of that input box is equal to the background color of this email section, or you can say email part of this background image which we have defined on this mobile simulator. Now we are going to repeat the same steps for this input box also, so as to make it look as if it is a part of this image. We are going to come back, we are going to go on this game lab. Let's make use of this color picker tool in order to find out the code of this color. So this is the code for this color, and let's go back on that Applab. Let's select this input box, and here in this background color property, let's replace this color with the copied one. Okay, now let's eliminate this border of this input box. So for doing that, we can reduce it down to 0. Fine. Now I am going to change the IDs of these two input boxes. So this one, I am renaming the ID of this first input box to email, and I'm renaming the ID of this second input box to password. So we are done with defining the two input boxes which we will be using for taking the input from the user. Now let's define a button on this image component. So as you can see, we have got this button over here, but it is a part of this image. How can we make this part of the image behave like a button? So the first way you can do it is by making use of this button component and placing it over here like this, and you can enlarge the size of this button component like this, right? The second way, which I generally prefer when I design my apps, is you can use this label box. You can place it over here and enlarge the size of this label box in such a way that it can cover that whole login button, which is the part of this image. And in order to eliminate this text which is getting reflected over here, you can just eliminate everything from this text field of this component. Okay, and now I am going to rename the ID of this button of this label box to login. Fine, now this part of this background image is going to behave like a button for us. Let's go on that coding window and start defining the code for these components we have defined on this mobile simulator screen. Okay, so we are done with defining all the three required components. Now I am going to create one more screen. So for doing that, we can hit this drop down over here and let's come on this new screen option. So automatically a new screen is going to get created like this. Now let's search for a relevant background for this screen too. Let's search for something like welcome guest. Fine. Okay. So let's go for this one. This is a very beautiful image. We can use in order to save it on the desktop. What we have to do, we just have to right click on this image and let's make use of this option, save image as. And that option is going to redirect us on one of the locations present on our computer. Let's set this desktop over here and I'm going to save it with this name on my desktop, welcome. Now let's go back on that Applab and import this welcome image over here. So for that, I am going to define an image button on this mobile simulator screen for this screen too. And let's now come down over here and hit this choose button. Let's drag and drop this welcome image over here in this assets section of the Applab. So the image has got successfully uploaded. Now I'm going to select this image for the image button I've defined on this screen too. So this white portion is still visible to us. In order to get rid of this, we can make use of this fill option. So that's how the image is going to look like now on this screen. So that's how you can change the appearance of this image. Now we are going to come on this coding window and let's come on this screen one and start defining the code that we have defined on this screen one. So now we have two input boxes and one button over here. So I would like to define an uneven block for this button named login in this workspace first. I am putting it over here right on the top. And let's convert it into block based coding. From this first drop down, I am going to select the ID of this button, that is login. Now when the user will hit this login button, I would like him to get redirected on this screen too, based on the input he is going to make for these two fields. So if the user will enter gaurav@gmail.com over here in this email component and gaurav123 over here in this password field, then only I would like him to get redirected on this screen too. Otherwise, he should not be redirected on this screen too. So that's how I am going to define the code for this uneven block I have here in this workspace for this login button. Right. Let's convert it into text-based coding first. Now, inside this uneven block, I am going to make use of this if loop, which you can easily find in the control section of the toolbox. Let's drag it and drop it over here. Okay, so how can we get the input which the user is going to write down over here in these two boxes? So for doing that, we can make use of this beautiful command get text. Now what is the ID of this component? It is email. So we need to select email for this component. Now if the email matches with this email ID that I am defining over here, gaurav@gmail.com, and if the password, so because I need to check two different conditions in one go, so that is the reason we are going to make use of and logical operator. Okay, so now I am going to copy this whole thing and put it just after this and logical operator. Now the ID of this component is password, so I need to replace this email with password first. So if the password is equal to Gaurav123, fine. Now if the user satisfies these two conditions I have defined over here, then only he should be redirected on this screen too. Now I am going to make use of this set screen block, which you can easily find in the UI control section of the toolbox. And here I'm going to replace this one with 2. Okay, so here there is a red box getting reflected on this workspace. Why? Because I am missing something in this coding part. Let's see what are we guys missing over here. So we need to eliminate this round bracket over here. Now let's see what are we going to get as an output when we'll run this mobile simulator. So we can hit this run button. Let's check out whether the code that we have defined over here, is it working fine or not. So I'm going to enter a random email address over here. Let's enter this password Gaurav123. Now I'm going to hit this login button and see whether I will be able to log in into this system or not. Okay, so I am not able to log in into the system. Let's replace this ID with this, which I have defined over here in this coding part. So I am now using this gaurav@gmail.com. Let's now hit this login button and see whether I will be able to go on that screen too or not. So I am able to log in into this system successfully. Right, so that's how you can make use of this simple code for creating a beautiful login system. Let's now make it more interactive. What we guys can do, we can add some sound to this if loop. So for doing that, we can make use of this play sound block, which you can easily find in the control section of the toolbox. Let's place it right inside this if loop, and here I am going to change it into block based coding again. Let's select some sound from this sounds library of Applab. So I am going to go with this one. Okay, let's hit this choose button, so automatically the sound clip is going to get added like this over here. Fine. And let's come on this designing part and add one label box also. So I'm going to add it. Let's place it over here. Fine. And let me enlarge the size of this label box. Now I'm going to replace the text with this invalid credentials, and let's change the text color of this invalid credentials part. So we need to come down over here and we can make use of this text color property for changing the color to, let's change it to red. Fine. So initially I don't want the user to see this error message, right? It should be visible to the user only if this condition is not true for the input he is going to make for these two input boxes. So for doing that, we can make use of this hide element property, which you can easily find in this UI control section of the toolbox. I'm going to place it right on the top over here. Let's select the ID of this error message. So this is the one. Fine. Now when you run this app, the user will not be able to see it initially. Let's convert it into text-based coding. So if the user will enter correct login credentials, he is going to get redirected on this screen to else. I would like this error message to be visible to the user. So we can make use of this show element property. Let's convert it into block based coding, and from this drop down I am going to select this error. Right. Now when you run this app, let's see what are we going to get as an output. So here I am going to enter a random email address. Let's select this one, and if I'll go with this password and hit this button, let's see what is going to happen. So as you can see, this error message is getting reflected right now on this screen. And if I will enter the correct login credentials, let's see what is going to happen. So I'm going to get redirected on this welcome screen, and I was also able to hear a sound from the background, which was coming just because of this play sound block I have added in this if loop. Right. So that's how you can create a beautiful login system with the help of this if loop. Hope you guys enjoyed this lecture a lot. Do like and share this video, and thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye bye.